Hi everyone, and welcome to my review of the Band-maid album Made in Japan. Made in Japan is Band-maid's debut album and was released on January 18, 2014, and its re-release was released on the 14th of February with two new songs, which the re-release also came out the same day as World Domination did. If you're asking why I skipped over the whole genre introduction of Band-maid, is because this album honestly is not a hard rock or heavy metal record. It is very much a pop rock record. Um, so it's very different from what the band would do, like even 8 months later with the song "Thrill," which was a part of a single, but we'll get into that a little later. Um, Now for this review, I did listen to the re-release, which is all the original songs plus the two added songs. Um, and to start out with, I'm going to start talking about the artwork, which to be honest, typically I am not a fan of photos of the band on the cover of an album. However, since it's a part of the bandmate's aesthetic is that they wear maid outfits, it kind of fits for a visual representation of the band. Um, they all are wearing the maid costume, which do look rather simplistic to how their maid costumes look now. But however, that does not mean they're bad costumes by any means. Um, I guess I'm personally just used to the versatile and distinct outfits they have now. The old logo at the bottom I thought was a little clever for some reason because when I first looked at it, I was an idiot and thought it was the scan bar thing, but that was probably not intentional. The red plaster on the album cover title is alright. It's not eye opening, but nothing to ruin the cover. Overall, this is a 6 out of 10 album cover. It's serviceable. Um, Now on to the music itself. And as I said, this album is a lot more rock and pop rock, and it has a lot of similarities to another Japanese band, Scandal, in the sound. Which does make sense as Scandal was actually, well, to be fair, they had been blowing up in popularity, but especially around that time, this is like I believe around their breakthrough. Though to be fair, they've Scandal's always been mainstream. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just rambling. In the sound, this is not an accusation of Band-maid ripping off Scandal at all. This album overall is very simplistic and more stripped down than band's later releases, which is not a bad thing. Now, I understand that with a lot of bands, there's always this thing that, like, I don't know why, but it's like no matter what, their first album's always the best. Like, no matter what they do, everyone's just going to say, oh man, they were only good in those first two records, man. Everything else it just sucks. You gotta be like those first two records, man. Which is kind of annoying, but that's a rant for another time. The instrumentation is solid, but not groundbreaking, and while Saki does give a good vocal performance, at times it feels like she's honestly straining. Like, she just sounds uncomfortable at points on songs. I know Saki had to get vocal surgery sometime before just bringing it, so I understand that some of those things I could feeling like could be a factor of the surgery as to why she needed surgery, but I do not know the full details on that, and what I just said is speculation, so just don't be mad at me for saying something that is incorrect when I'm acknowledging that it could be incorrect. Anyways, and I can tell you, trying to sing when you're uncomfortable is not fun at all. Because I've definitely been in that position myself. On the re-release, she is not sounding as strained and as uncomfortable, thankfully. Though it still is a little bit there, but not like a lot as on this record. Another downside to this record is Misa is kind of non-existent here. And which is real shame because that's one of the perks that Band-maid has is a lot of metal and hard rock bands. The bass player is kind of not acknowledged, they're kind of like non-existent, but here Misa not only gets equal time to shine with her other fellow musicians, but sometimes she actually is able to take charge. But here, that is not the case. As for the re-release songs, the first track titled I no Junsu no Matoro, translated to Love, Passion, Mightier, still has simplistic nature of the album while putting a few bits of the band's hard rock style that would come right after. Seeing as I know a few songs from their sophomore release, The Summer Drive is the other song. It's a nice pop rock, punk trap in its track. It's very catchy. Both songs show how much the band has improved in just 7 months. It also makes the album kind of look like a trial and error thing, which can be seen by them dropping the whole pop rock thing as their main genre seemingly immediately after, with Thrill leaving the charts on the next album. And also, speaking of Thrill, their next album single, which was the aforementioned I to Jinsu no Mataru, in which that was the lead single and Thrill wasn't, but somehow Thrill exploded in popularity. So does that mean if Thrill never became as popular as it was, Band-maid would have sounded like this would have been the Band-maid that we knew now, like as a pop rock band and not as the hard rock, very debatably heavy metal band that we have today? I guess that's another alternate reality we can think about. Because Thrill definitely did change the landscape of the band, but I might talk about that in the next video if I do decide to review their sophomore album, which I more than likely will. But getting back to the album itself, it does kind of make the people complaining about Start Over, just because of the genre-wise, just confusing. Like, I understand some of the complaints that how it feels like the record label is forcing them to make that song, but they kind of did the style of that song like from day one, so it's not like out of left field. To me, though, Start Over does sound like something that would be a strong track on this record, and the Band-maid choruses are not very catchy here, and at points can be a down point in the song. By My Tears has a great start with that commanding snare in the first verse, where it's like, duh, like, duh, duh, duh. Like every, like really rock song in the 80s would use, like, get you excited for it. However, the chorus of that song just drags it down a bit. The lyrics for this record I cannot judge because only one song has a translation, which is Big Dad, which is either about parental neglect or kids, love your parents. Take your pick. But from the few English lyrics, it appears to be an album which is upbeat and positive vibes throughout. I also understand that at this time, Band-maid had a lot of ghostwriters, which honestly, the writing is competent, but at the same time, ghostwriting does kind of rub me the wrong way a little bit, but that's not going to impact my album score at all. It's just I'm more of, the artists themselves writing their music. But that in no means is the ghostwriting anything terrible. This is overall a decent album that shows off a promising start, but also shows the band has some room to grow and improve upon some things. Sort of like a small flower that has yet to blossom. This is not a recommended album if you want to get into this band. World Domination is still their magnum opus to me. I give Maid In Japan a 6 out of 10. Recommended tracks for this album would be Be Okay, which was the opening track, Evergreen, which is the second track, Knock It On Your Heart, Forward, Summer Drive, and Love, Passion, Mediator. What was your thoughts on Maid In Japan? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Is it your favorite Band-maid record? Is it your least favorite Band-maid record? Let me know in the comments down below and give me suggestions what I should review. And as always, I would like to thank you for watching and thank you for your support. And I hope you all have a nice day.